What's up, people, and welcome back to camp. Today is May 20th, 2025, in the year of our Lord. We have a lot to get into. We're talking about this Mexican boat crash here in New York City. Joe B. Biden, that guy, has cancer. R.I.P. Shout out to him. I talked to Bernie Sanders. But before we do all of that, I would like to introduce you, my friend today, Joe Avery. How are you, sir?
I'm well. Great to be here, Mark.
Last time I saw you, I think we were having a wonderful time in Portland, Maine.
Yes, yeah, that is true. We had a little double headliner mini tour where we went up to Maine, and it was great we were there together because I don't think Maine is a stronghold for my fan base.
Well, I think both of us have a small number of fans in Maine, and when we were together, both of them were like, we don't want to go.
Yeah.
So we alienated everybody.
But it was fun. We had a good time.
Yeah, we did have a great time.
It was interesting. Our first night, we had kind of a tough billing because we were in the same building and head-to-head with a literal fucking circus.
Yeah. We had what was the circus?
Actual circus.
I don't think it even had a name. It was just circus.
I was like, whose circus? Is this like Barnum and Bailey? Do we have a circus leader? They were like, no, it's the circus, you idiot. And
which is crazy how far the circus has fallen.
It used to be a big deal.
It was the deal.
It was the thing.
The greatest show on earth.
Yeah.
And P.T. Barnum is one of the most fascinating characters of history.
I should have known you'd know that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up.
Please continue. Yeah.
He used to do this thing where he would like go out on the street and he would create like these spectacles as like just a guy on the street, basically like drum up business for the circus coming to town. Like he would like cause like antics and fights and like stir up local communities. And he was like just
to get interest in the incoming circus. So he's basically the Kanye of his time.
Literally, he might be the best way to describe him. He is like the Kanye of his time. Let me search like
he would cause local fights and things as promo.
Yes, yeah. Like he was out in the street. He's the dude that came up with the quote, "There's a sucker born every second."
Yeah,
like he's that guy. But he was like a proper marketing genius. Then like the OG marketing genius. So
that's
like
crazy.
Greatest show on earth was him. He invented the Fiji mermaid. He like tied like a capuchin monkey to like a fish and then like marketed it as a mermaid. It's like we found a mermaid. He had a 161-year-old woman.
That obviously was not true.
Yeah, she was just
just grabbed an Asian
lady.
Yeah. She's old as fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She was a 35-year-old Asian woman. Yeah. It's like look at her.
Yeah, so he knew what a lot of people who came after him know, which is that a great way to get attention is to absolutely lie and appeal to like our most base instincts, which makes me feel like I'll never be a great marketer. I don't like that vibe.
Yeah. No, I'm not really particularly good at that. Like I feel like I do a pretty good show, and then I tell people I'm like, yeah, it's not that good.
Yeah, I'd rather you come and be like, holy shit, that was amazing. I'm like, yeah, it actually was pretty good.
If it was up to me to market my tour, it would be the most pretty good show on earth.
Come on out if you want to have fun or not. It's totally fine as well. Whatever. Just let me know if you think you'll roll through or not.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this guy's literally lying and is like, and then he's calls.
Like, we have a mermaid.
And then he calls them
and
suckers.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's the best part.
Like, you're the idiot.
Yeah. He tricks them. I wanted to do this as a sketch. I wanted to do like the super condescending magician.
That's great.
So like you do a card trick to someone and they're like, bro, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, you dumbass.
Yeah, obviously. You believe in magic, you idiot.
Yeah, you don't know how I did that, you fucking moron.
Stop, dude.
Oh man. You know who we were missing in Maine when we were there?
Oh.
My good friend Miles. We got Miles in the studio. The return of Miles.
Hi, everybody.
If he's now outside of the tent, he's been relegated due to fan demand.
The fans can't have Miles in the tent.
Yes, the campers said if he steps foot in the tent, we are not coming back to the show.
He is kind of an outdoor cat.
Oh, 100%.
You know, like, I feel like it's like we'll leave food out for Miles from time to time, and he does belong to us, but he will be nowhere near our couch.
Yeah, I'm like a beat dog. I show back up.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
I always make my way home.
Exactly. So if you guys don't mind, we can just get a fuck Miles in the chat. And the amount of people after each one of my shows, I want you to know, Miles, that will dap me up, be like, dude, great show, really enjoyed it. Also, fuck Miles. The amount of people.
What do you think my DMs look like? I just had Bernie on. I'm still getting fuck you.
Yeah.
Socialist pig, fuck Miles.
Well, it's got to be tough because you're opening your DM and it's like, oh, does someone want to fuck Miles? It's like, nope, just fuck Miles. This is not a pitch. This is just what's up.
Yeah, which also, let the record show, before there was ever fuck Miles, there was fuck Mark.
Mm-hmm.
I had a shirt that I would wear sometimes in college that just said "fuck Mark Gagnon" on the front of it.
Really?
And I would like wear it
Huge letters. It was top to bottom, like from the neckline to the bottom.
Yeah, and I would just like wear it to parties and shit. And people just come up to me and be like, "Who is that?" And I'd be like, "Nice to meet you."
Dude, you're the original the P.T. Barnum. That's an incredible straight. You knew exactly what you were doing.
That's actually
There's a sucker born every second, and all of them want to fuck Mark Gagnon.
You trying to suck?
You
Like
trying to...
here, this is you can't. It's here. There you go. That's me at a
Oh my
party.
lord! It's glowing.
Me and my friend Connor and Emerson.
That is incredible.
We can put that on the screen for the good people at home. But yeah, and recently I FaceTimed my wife while she was at home with her family holding my son, and she was wearing that shirt.
Really? Like, she should just amend it to say, "I fucked Mark Gagnon, and now I have this baby."
Yes, one time.
Yeah, I fucked Mark Gagnon one time.
On the record, one time.
Yeah.
And she was just wearing it around the house with her mother.
And
So?
What did her mother think about that, you think?
She's like, "You guys are just
You guys are just so wacky and fun.
Brooklyn kids."
We never did this back in my day.
Yeah, never.
Alrighty, don't skip forward, guys, because I am on the road, world's fastest ad read, coming at you. I'm going to be in Buffalo, Raleigh, Poughkeepsie, Portland, Oregon, Fort Worth, Texas, Austin, Texas, Stanford, Philly, Levittown, Chandler, Arizona, San Diego. I'm also going to be adding Toronto, Montreal, as well as Washington, D.C., and a bunch of other dates. Dates are in the description, also in probably the comments of this episode. Go see me on the road. Come hang out. I'll be hanging out with everyone after the show. Come shake my hand. Call me an idiot. Whatever you want to do, I will be there. Additionally, I will be doing my 1 hour of stand-up comedy. I'm very proud of this hour. I'm really excited to share it with you guys, and it would mean the world if everyone could come on out. And what do you wear to a show on the road? That's a great question. You can go to campgoods.co. That's right. We got merch. We got camp merch. We got hats, hoodies, t-shirts. A lot of stuff is out of stock. Things have been selling like hotcakes, but we're going to be restocking everything in all the sizes. So you can go there right now, get all the merch, get all the coolest clothing in the podcast game. We're going to be updating that site regularly. And if you come out to a show, I'd love to see you sporting some of the threads that we got up online. I'll see you guys there.
But no, that Portland time was fun until we got absolutely rinsed by the Airbnb.
Did they?
I don't
Actually?
know. I don't know what the current status is. You are the reason that this happened.
That is not true.
So, Miles, here's what happens. We are in Portland, Maine, okay? Which, Portland, Oregon, named after Portland, Maine.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough.
Right?
In both equal level of homeless vibes.
Yeah, it's shocking how similar cities they are.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Portland, Oregon was named after Portland, Maine because of Lewis and Clark.
It was like a bet between them, right? Or whoever got something first. Got to
Yeah,
name
like
it
whoever
after their
like
hometown.
discovered the land first or some shit.
Oh,
they
got
could
to
name it after their hometown.
thing.
Yeah.
Portland was way cooler than Bangor.
Yeah.
Respect to Bangor, but I think they know that. I think everyone in Maine knows that.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't even get through without yawning. So
Yeah,
that's that's gonna tell you anything about the area. But yeah, so basically, we are leaving the hotel. I have to fly out at 7 a.m. or something like that. So I leave at 5 a.m. and Joey's like, "Hey, don't worry about it. We'll lock down the Airbnb. No issue, right?"
There was no issue.
So Joey leaves. I don't talk to him. All of a sudden, I get a thing from Airbnb saying, "Hey, the owner of the Airbnb is disputing your recent stay." And I was like, "What's going on?" I had a great time. We were there for maybe 4 hours.
Yeah.
Like literally, we got there, did the show, went back, slept, and then left. Had some bomb ass Chinese food.
Incredible Chinese food. Empire Chinese. Shout out to them.
Yeah,
Portland,
dude.
Maine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Empire.
You didn't even have it.
No, but
to
I
be
could
fair, because you didn't believe that you were worried about insulin spikes.
I was worried.
I don't know
about
if you're
spikes.
still on this.
Absolutely, I
You're
am.
still on
I
it.
am an ardent acolyte of Dr. Jason Fung. Okay,
And
He is-
I'm an ardent acolyte of his uncle who made the fantastic Chinese food that I enjoyed eating.
That's a
'cause
good
it was
point.
great.
Yeah, Sylvester Fung, the famous chef.
Yeah.
The insulin spiker himself. But yeah, so we leave, and I get this thing that says, "Hey, there's vomit in the sink. The pipes are completely clogged, and you have to pay $200 to fix it."
Did not puke. So that's the thing.
Right before,
I didn't puke, and I used the sink before I left, and it worked.
right before we
So
started.
there was no clog, and there was no vomit.
Before we started recording,
there was
Joey
no
Joey
drinking.
goes, "I love partying, dude."
I do love partying, but I didn't party in Portland.
I'm just saying, I don't know what's going on with the dispute. This is still open.
Yeah.
If the Airbnb people are going to use this against me, let the record show. Neither of us have puked in the
There
sink.
was no puking. Look, there's a lot of Airbnbs I've stayed at in my day that if they came and levied a puking allegation, I would just have to charge it to the game. And I'd be like, you might be right.
Worst Airbnb.
This was not one of those situations.
What's the worst Airbnb you ever
The worst
stayed
Airbnb I ever stayed in was when I came out to help you guys write on Schultz Saves America during the pandemic, and I came out and I was like, I told Andrew, I was like, I want to fund my trip. I just want to help. Like, so I came out and I got an Airbnb, not realizing I don't think New York's the greatest Airbnb city in the world.
It's illegal.
The place looked like it looked like an artist studio, so it looked great in photos. And then I get there and it's this dingy, dusty mess, no air conditioning in the middle of summer, so it's super hot, and the bed is in a loft, so you're at the top of an already hot room. So I'm sleeping up there, and the only thing to bring you any sort of coldness was a fan that looked like it was like on a fucking World War I Warthog plane.
That green one?
And it was like, yeah. And it was like so loud that I felt like I was having dreams that I was like taking off. I thought I was an airplane.
Yeah.
And it was horrible.
Nice.
It was awful. And then my friend was like, oh, you can just stay at my parents' place. And I was like, bet, I'll do that.
That's wild. It was really like it was like a finger chopper type fan?
Yeah, except it was like that, but it was like huge.
Hell yeah.
It was like this big, and it was just like, and I was just like, this is horrible.
Yeah. You should have done it the Japanese way.
Which is what?
On the floor. No. The Japanese don't sleep with fans. It's like
no one should these days. It's really tough with Instagram and social media. You know?
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Folks.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, is it Koreans? Type shit. But yeah, the Koreans don't sleep with fans. They have the superstition about it.
Really?
Yeah.
If you sleep with a fan, if you sleep in a closed room with a fan on, that you'll run out of air.
Well, they're wrong. I sleep with a fan every
Look,
night.
dude, what do you want to say? You know what I mean? Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're.
That's an interesting. I love how they can just be like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. South Korea suggests that sleeping with an electric fan running can cause death. While there's no scientific basis for this belief, it remains prevalent and is passed down through generations. Boy, doesn't that apply to a lot of things?
Right?
That last sentence?
Yeah.
Though
Right.
there is no scientific basis for this.
Hey, I feel like you're calling out a lot of my dieting stuff. Let the record show I have 2 jars of raw honey on the table.
Yeah,
right now.
wow. What do I gain from this?
This one, I mean, this is a panacea.
Yeah.
Truly, this can solve all your problems. It will make biscuits taste very yummy,
Mm-hmm.
and also potentially help with seasonal illness.
I love that. But I don't think you are a guy who eats biscuits. Is where I'm going to call you on that.
No, I don't.
Right.
Not the present moment. I really got it for my wife because I was like, oh, I think she'll like this.
Right.
It's hard to go on the road and go to like our
fat
favorite
idiots eating biscuits all the time. I'm going to help her out.
Exactly, dude. Spiking her insulin.
Yeah.
Not mine. But yeah, I mean, we do pass down dumb things. There's a podcast in Korea right now where these 2 hosts are like, yeah, dude, they think if you eat food and swim, you're going to die. Like these fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And we're over here like, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Bizarro world us just in Korea.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't. Well.
Also,
Man.
local honey only helps with allergies in the area that
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
at. So New York City and Indiana, honey is not going to help.
But there is immune boosting.
No.
Immune
moon.
boosting.
A moon boosting.
Yeah,
A moon boosting.
I have honey in my mouth right now.
Yeah.
I keep it tucked like a
Been
Zen.
eating it.
Yeah. No,
I bet this is fire, though.
Yeah, it's quite nice. But were you in the city when the Mexican Edmund Fitzgerald crashed?
I was not.
For the record, some people passed away. Okay, so I just want to
Yes.
acknowledge up top it's very sad. It's a tragedy, and we're gonna pour a Modelo out for those boys. Okay?
We will. Absolutely.
Because it is sad.
They were, and the people who passed, because I was curious about this. I wasn't sure if they were like people on the bridge or whatever. I think it was people standing on the masts.
There was a guy that committed suicide jumping off the bridge, just coincidentally.
Just simultaneously.
Yeah, it was.
Actually, that was due to the stock market. That was completely unrelated.
Dude, imagine there's a Wall Street guy just hanging on there.
Yeah.
And he's like, actually, maybe I won't. And then just a ship hits him in the head. He falls
He
off.
goes to kill himself, and the ship puts him back. And he's like, fuck, dude.
He lands on the sail like Jack Sparrow and just fucking knifes his way down. He's like, all right, fine. I guess I'll stick around for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a crazy thing. I like really stopped the city for a little bit. Like,
Yeah, I was out of town. I was in the Catskills at a wedding, and then I just woke up and saw it on my phone.
yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And Miles, what was the thing with this? It was basically a Mexican Navy like training ship.
Yeah, basically, it's like a ship of goodwill or like a peace ship,
Mhm.
and they use it for like
They use it as like a marketing almost, you can imagine. And they were headed to Iceland, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And
They lost power.
Yeah, the prevailing theory is they lost power. They were like going into the harbor, and then they were gonna not go into the harbor. And as they were doing their turnaround, they lost power.
Damn. And so they had all these guys up on the mast.
Yeah.
And then it hits. Like, of all the ships with giant masts to hit, this one was stacked
This was
full
the
of people.
Well, that's because at first I was like, did they just not do the math? That's insane. But yeah, it looks like they weren't trying to go under the bridge. They just lost power.
Yeah.
And then.
I mean, such a bummer, dude. Those poor guys. But also, the giant Mexican flag on the front is sort of funny to me. Like,
yeah,
it was so big.
It's for a boat that was designed to bring good PR to the Mexican Navy. It has had the exact opposite effect. But it has definitely ginned up confidence. Kind of a P.T. Barnum sort of experience here, where, and maybe, you know, I would imagine search results for Mexican Navy have never been higher.
That is true.
And
All
so we
publicity is
might
good publicity.
Get a few more in there, and obviously respect. It is a tragedy, but which it's so sad that it is a tragedy because it's sad anyway. But it's also unfortunate that it can't just be purely hilarious.
I know. Like,
Which,
like you see these things and you're like, people passed away.
Yeah.
That is so sad because now it's going to be hard for me to make jokes about it.
correct, yeah. And so, who's the real victim?
Yeah, exactly,
in this
right?
scenario?
It's us. In a way.
Yeah, it is. My friend said he would went out for a run that morning and he saw the boat and he like took a picture and was gonna send it because he was just like, I'm all for everybody, but this feels like an invasion. He's like, the flags were so big. I was like, dude, I wish you had sent it because you would have had this,
Oh, dude.
ominous precursor.
I already know
like a
Trump
historical
had a
artifact.
tweet lined up
Yeah,
prior to the
100%.
bridge hitting it. Prior to Trump was like, we got to build a moat.
We need to build a water wall. They call it a bridge. Yeah. Beautiful Brooklyn Bridge.
The Southern
keeps
Bridge.
the Mexicans out. It swatted them back like Yao Ming. It said, no se puede.
Oh, dude. I saw one comment that just said Cinco de Mayo.
Ah,
It's like, that's pretty good.
that's
That's pretty good. You got there, dude.
That's tough. What's funny, I mean, I guess the boat lost power. You're fucked either way, but that boat looks like it was built to work without power. That thing looks like it's a fucking this was for the 1300s or some shit.
Yeah. Of all the boats, you're like, that's the one that doesn't. I didn't know it had power.
Yeah.
I thought there was no power involved in the boat at all.
Yeah, no.
I thought it was just powered by just dudes with oars or something, or just the wind.
It's such a colonizer-ass boat, too. Like, you'd think that Mexico would be like, fuck this.
Yeah, right.
We don't want this boat.
I looked it up. I was like, when was this built? And it was like 1987.
Yeah.
What?
Like, who? For why?
Thriller was already out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they were like, yeah, we need an old Armada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
We're going to recapture the Armada.
yeah.
We need to.
We're going to give it back to them, dude.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to them, dude. Sorry.
Shout out to them. It's too bad. It's
It's
too
a shame.
bad. Because it was a fun boat.
Was.
I don't know if they're going to keep doing. Is it going to go to Iceland?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know because it seems like a lot of the damage is superficial, right? Like
Right.
you just put the mast back up. You know what I mean? And if I know anyone that can fix it,
It would be, yeah.
it'd probably be some La Raza.
See that
you know
boat
what I mean?
pulling up to a Home Depot. Getting the boys back involved.
That's what
dude.
I'm saying, dude. I think they could fix it. A little duct tape. They'd be like, yeah, it's fixed. No,
I think
no
it
problem.
might already be fixed.
It probably.
They probably already did.
If I know anything about Mexican work ethic, they're probably on it.
Yeah, they fixed that boat.
But with it said, like, I don't know if, given the calamity, if it's like, yeah, we got to retire it.
Yeah, calamity really is the right word for this because it feels like there's like an old timey quality to this disaster.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a calamity.
Yeah. So I don't know what you do. Do you just sink it, turn to a reef?
Yeah. Let it rejoin nature. I think you just fix it and you just
Keep it moving?
got to keep it moving.
Yo
You can't
ho,
just
yo
freak
ho.
out because the power went out one time. Sometimes that happens at the Newark airport. With the FAA. Sometimes. Sometimes the screens go dark. But
Yeah,
do
exactly.
we stop flying? No. We
No.
just really try not to think about it every time I fly out of Newark.
What's up, guys? We're going to take a break really quick because we have a new sponsor of the show that I'm so excited about that I need to tell you. So listen up. Our food is important. What you eat is who you are. It's how you think, how you feel, how you work out. It basically encompasses everything. But unfortunately, our food doesn't have the nutrients we need to be our best. And that's where Symbiotica comes in. Symbiotica is the greatest supplement brand in the world. And here's why. They got all these different supplements. I actually take these every single day. Specifically, the magnesium L-threonate. I take this before I go to sleep, and it helps me sleep better. Magnesium is amazing for helping me go to sleep. Look it up. There's studies everywhere. And this is great because it tastes amazing. It's not some pill. This is the L-threonate. It's sublingual. It actually gets in your blood system faster and will make you sleep better, perform better the next day. And when you sleep better, your hormones reset better, you get stronger, you work out better, all that. Vitamin C, same thing. You need that. It should be in your food, but it's not. And that's where Symbiotica can be the cure. And then, of course, you got liquid colostrum. You probably had colostrum right when you were very first born. If you were breastfed, your mom made colostrum. It is nature's first superfood. It is super dense in nutrients, and right here it is in this package. It'll make you feel amazing. So if you want to perform better at the gym, if you want to perform better at work, if you want to think faster, if you want to be more social, even talking to women, oh, I don't know what to say, I jam up, I get nervous. It's possible some of that anxiety is because you are nutrient deficient. You feel bad. You don't have the adequate stuff in your body to make you be at your best. So if you are interested in being the best you that you can be, go to symbiotica.com/camp for 20% off your order plus free shipping. That is symbiotica.com/camp for 20% off your order and free shipping. This is all stuff I actually use. I'm weirdly obsessed with my health and nourishing my body, and this is the stuff that I take, which is why I'm so excited to tell you guys about it. So check it out, and let's get back to the show.
Newark didn't have air traffic control for, 30 seconds?
Yeah, and apparently it was so scary that the air traffic controllers were like in the hallways, like shaking, because they don't know like planes are going to crash into each other, so they had to take it was such a intense thing. They had to take a mental health time off, which is what led to further staff shortings, because the people who were working during that were so rattled by
they were like, all that not working really made me need to take a break. Yeah. Not working for 30 seconds, I gotta take a day off.
It to Philadelphia.
What do you mean?
All the Newark air traffic is run out of Philadelphia now.
I mean, Miles' bitch ass knows everything about infrastructure.
I can hear Miles in the back going, that is correct.
They used to be ran out of Long Island. They moved them to Philly. They're already understaffed. It's supposed to be 44 to 50 people.
Did they move them to Philly because they wanted the air traffic controllers to use more slurs when the planes? You gotta go down, you fucking quit! Oh my god!
Go birds!
Yeah,
metal birds. Come on now,
metal birds. Fly, eagles, fly. Oh my god! So has it been going well in Philadelphia until this? Do they even know what happened?
They basically lost connection with Philly, so all the air traffic controllers in the tower for 90 seconds didn't have it. And then like you said, they took trauma.
Damn. Oof. What's going on with water traffic control? Is that who was in charge of that? No, I think you'll make it.
Yeah. Should be good.
Yeah, send it.
Send it.
Oh, dude. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a scary thing. I was flying this week in Indianapolis, and old burn dog, old Senator Sanders, made me miss a couple shows, but it was all worth it.
Wait, what do you mean? You had to come back early?
So he was going to come on Thursday and had a show in Indianapolis on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to push it to Friday, so I'm just going to cancel a Thursday show.
Yeah.
Sorry, Indianapolis. It was for a good cause. We had to tell the people about socialism or something.
Yeah.
And then Friday came around, did the pod with Bernie, which was awesome. What a legend. I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But then the flight was at 3, gets delayed until 6:30.
Yeah.
Terrible, insane flight. The whole time we're taking off, we wait 3 hours in the terminal, wait an hour on the tarmac, get up in the air, no AC on the plane.
Oh,
they're finding turbulence. I don't think I don't think they're trying to avoid it. I think they're just flying directly into turbulence the whole time.
It builds spirit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That we were on Spirit.
Yeah.
And it was just basically trying to find whatever the worst flight path was. We added another hour in the air because they were trying to get around the storm. And then
my god.
The show was supposed to be 7 to 9:30. I ended up landing at 8:30 or 9 or something like that. And then immediately booked it from the airport straight to the show. And then they just consolidated the shows into one and just packed people in.
Oh, how? In that tiny room?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It was 75% sold for both shows. So they just pushed
just
everyone, and then some of the early show people just dipped.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be happening to a lot of shows. I mean, like I'm in Dallas this weekend, Dallas Comedy Club. Come on out. But it's like it's Memorial Day weekend. I'm flying out of Newark. Thankfully, my flight's at 6 a.m., which I usually hate. But I'm like, I'd rather be first one out.
Yeah.
And like just fucking get there and take a nap. Or
Also,
whatever.
didn't help that I watched The Rehearsal, Nathan Fielder's program.
It's so good.
I really enjoyed it.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, see the episode where he speed runs Sully's life.
What
is probably the funniest TV. I think that's the hardest I've ever laughed at a television show in my entire life. When he walked out as the baby, I was like, "Oh my god!" And then the takeaway at the end, which I won't spoil, but like,
Wait,
wake me up inside.
Yeah, dude. I mean, how good is that? I don't know what was happening, but my guess.
Yeah.
It was unreal.
Yeah, if you're not watching The Rehearsal, I
Yeah.
guess it's a very particular type of show. I could imagine some people not enjoying it because it's not just like a fun normal TV show, but fuck, is it the closest thing we have to comedic genius happening right now?
Yeah, I
in
really
my
enjoyed it. I mean, outside of this podcast, but yes, I agree.
Of course,
and it's
yeah.
the all-time show for your wife to fall asleep halfway through
Yeah.
because she was falling asleep and she was like, "Oh, that's funny." He's like trying to like fix aviation safety.
Yeah.
And then woke up like maybe 20 minutes later and she's like, "He's a baby?"
Yeah, like you really missed
It's
a
like,
couple
yeah.
building blocks.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. There's a lot of story progression that's going on that she was not privy to.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Now I am interested in your pod with Bernie.
Oh my goodness, what a ledge. Now, for the record, let me just say, I don't really like any politicians,
Fair.
which is it's kind of like a dumb take to have. I know it's like borderline conservative just to be like, I don't like politicians. In general, I just
It feels like it sounds dangerous, but in practice, it's very safe.
sure.
Like it
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
like you're being like, dude, fuck the system, man. But then in reality, it's like actually this is the easiest take to defend
Yeah.
of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
And it also gives you a cop out for not participating. I'm not saying that's what you're going for.
But it's just like I get this sense where you get these like politicians like you're like, okay, like I just kind of accept corruption.
It's also weird to love politicians too.
Yeah, maybe equally as
Yeah,
as strange of a take, but it's like I just sort of like I'm inherently skeptical.
Yeah.
With that said, Bernie exceeded my expectations. Like
He was fun.
a very principled guy, and then even just doing research on him. Obviously, I was familiar with him through 2016, kind of onward. It was like kind of who he was existing as in the political atmosphere, but I didn't know all the details of his personal life that I got to dive into during prep for the pod, and I'm so impressed by like I don't know like his record. You know what I mean? Like it's seemingly a like a solid, honest person for the better part of like 60 years.
He's very good at communicating his stuff too. Like I watched the episode today, and it felt like I was like with my cousins, like after dinner at Grandpa's house, like with everyone asking him questions and just hearing like, "Oh wow, that's how the system works."
Yeah,
like,
literally,
had,
that's how it felt.
It had a cool
And
quality
another
to
thing,
it. Yeah,
and one more
oh,
thing.
Okay,
Let's take a deep
Socialist
breath.
Grandpa's talking again. We need to listen.
It was so fun, and I just really enjoyed his aura.
It's funny, not that this is the most important thing, but it's always interesting watching feedback on different platforms because, like, I was just curious what people's comments would be. It's a politician. You guys are a comedy show. Like, it could be inflammatory. So I'm looking and, like, on YouTube, everyone's like, amazing, best ever. And then I think Schultz posted on Instagram, and people were like, better call this fucking hypocrite out. And I was like, I didn't know people thought Bernie was a hypocrite. I guess they were saying because he took money from Big Pharma is what people said. I
Yeah,
don't know. I
which
couldn't...
even looking at that, it's like he was taking donations from many pharma employees.
Right, which is totally...
I mean, Miles, can you fact check me on that? Am I off there? Like, that's my understanding is that he was accepting money from pharma employees.
It seemed in general, though, that it was a very well-received episode.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah,
but
I
I appreciate how he communicates.
Yeah, I like him, and I like his energy. But so like the criticisms that people were giving also were kind of annoying. Where it's like,
Mad that he flies on a private jet.
so that's the one
sometimes.
thing. It's like he sometimes flies on a private jet. It's like, yeah, he is a politician and has to still do stuff. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I'm opposed to slavery, but I have a phone that was probably built with slave labor. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
but like that doesn't negate the fact
It
that
feels a bit like fishing when compared to like the criticisms of other politicians.
yeah,
Like
I mean,
no
yeah.
one gets mad at other politicians for also being on a private jet.
It feels. I mean, to use your fishing metaphor,
Yeah.
it's like someone calling out like overfishing or like killing sharks and cutting off their fins and being like, yeah, but you fish in your pond.
Right.
And it's like, all right, like it's not really the same thing. I don't think that that's a valid criticism. Like it's the person that's like, oh, dude, Bernie flies on a private jet, so it's fine that people die of not being able to afford insulin.
Right.
I'm like, I don't see
and
how
people,
that.
I think people give it to him more because they're like, oh, he's a socialist. I don't know. At least his talking points now and what he was talking about with you guys seemed less about like full tilt socialism and more like there's a clear and ridiculous situation going on with the amount of billionaires we're able to manufacture while the average person's getting angrier and angrier. And you can let that play out and see what's going to fucking happen or not.
Yeah, it's like wages aren't going up and people are struggling and like America's getting very wealthy and it's not getting redistributed and it's not trickling down.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, is there a way to address that? Is there a way to get people like at least access to some type of healthcare while preserving a private system like public schools and private schools? And,
yeah, we're getting wealthy. We're also in debt somehow. It's all very confusing.
And again, I'm not some political genius. I don't know any of this stuff. But this is just like based off a simple Google search. It's like, oh, he has 3 homes. And it's like, yeah, he's 83 and he's sold like best-selling books. And he also has like a good income as being a senator. Like to me, that's like, I don't know. I have like friends that, you know, their parents own 2 homes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that makes them in the billionaire class.
Right.
Like, sure, they're doing great financially, probably better than 90% of people, but I don't know if that's really who Bernie's talking about.
I think that was something that clicked with me too, is for the longest time I thought people who were making these points were against like anybody who like has a vacation home or something. And it's like, no, there's a group of hyper rich elites that actually run everything.
Yeah.
In our government, and like that's who we should be talking about.
I mean, you've seen the comparison of like a million versus a billion.
Yeah.
Like this, like to me, I think is a worthwhile thing to examine. Where like,
because in your head, it feels like you're going from 1 million to 2 million almost.
Yeah, no, that's
know?
what I do,
Yeah.
and I think it's like a human thing where they kind of like mistake it. But like 1 million seconds versus a billion seconds. Have you seen this?
No.
So 1 million seconds is about 11.5 days.
Okay.
1 billion seconds.
31 years and 8 months.
Yeah, like
that's crazy.
Just to put it in scope, or like, could you look up like 1 million grains of rice versus 1 billion grains of rice? Like, again, it's one of these like it's like our brains I don't think can really comprehend like the difference, but it's I don't know. It's one of those things that I think people kind of miss when it comes to Bernie. They're like, oh, he doesn't want anyone to get rich. And I'm like, no. And also, I think to give some credit to folks. Like, so yeah, here's like a visual representation of like 1 million versus 1 billion.
Yeah, getting mad someone has an extra house when they're talking about the fact that like Jeff Bezos is sending women to space on a rocket randomly. It's like it's kind of a slightly different.
Yeah, space
the guy
bras.
who's blasting bitches to space. Maybe we look into that level of.
Now, if he just left them there, no problem.
Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Now just some peace and quiet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. But no, I don't know. It's just like to give credit. I also think that maybe some of the folks on like the Bernie side maybe oversimplify things and there's kind of like point out problems without necessarily having a very clear-cut solution because most of these problems have very complex solutions, right?
It's kind of crazy that you have spoken face-to-face with Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump in the last
within my son's
6,
lifespan.
7 months. Yeah, that is insane.
Yeah, it's a pretty
Different vibes from the two of them.
Yeah, both pretty likable.
Yeah, like in the room.
Yeah.
Well, so that I guess
both
that's
really likable.
It's easy to let's put aside their political perspectives for this.
I already have
question. And I've watched both podcasts, but like in the room, is there like an aura that either had that you felt was like, God, it's like you could just tell immediately why they have been so successful in their own ways?
I mean, sort
They
of like
light up a room.
I would say Trump probably has like a more charismatic aura.
Yeah.
Where like you meet him and you're like, oh wow, this guy is like one of the all-time like most famous humans that has ever existed.
Yeah.
It's a pretty like bizarre aura to walk around with, and he is very charming and charismatic, and like shaking everyone's hand, and he's like,
and he's
how
just
are
like
you?
ribbing people. I'm like,
Yeah.
Bernie seems very straight to business, and Trump, I could imagine being like, look at the hair on this guy.
Yeah, which he did.
He did do. Say.
Yeah, word for word.
Yeah,
and yeah, Bernie was like, just like an older sort of like curmudgeon-y guy.
Yeah,
but it's his principle that I think is like the most compelling thing, where like you see how principled he has been, and like how
which is not Trump's strength in my humble
yeah
opinion.
yeah, probably less so.
Yeah,
but yeah, Bernie's just like so Yeah, he was just like so sharp too.
Yeah.
That is maybe one thing that they do share in common is that despite their old age, they're quite sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean-
got some big laughs out of Bernie, which I feel like was not like a normal, like, Schultz got an autistic joke laugh out of Bernie
laugh.
Sanders.
Yeah,
a big
laugh.
one, dude.
Which that was even one of
must
the
have
things.
felt electric.
That was one of the things that was funny is like doing the prep for it is like we just discovered this fact that part of the reason that he sort of started to analyze corporate greed was because the Dodgers left Brooklyn.
That would be heartbreaking. I mean, the guy's listing off, you know, who's batting third, and he's doing
Dude.
fucking Abbott and Costello. You know, like, and that is a real thing. That era, it's so interesting to me how important baseball was back then. My grandpa was the same thing. He would, as he ended up having dementia. As he was like sliding into dementia, we'd still be like, "Hey, Grandpa, can you do the lineup for the whatever year it was, Detroit Tigers?" And he would just batting first, second base, and just rattle through the
Yeah.
whole thing like it was important.
When my wife was doing her clinicals to become like a nurse practitioner, she was working like a retirement home, like an old folks home, and the amount of old men that she would like advanced Alzheimer's that were waking up out of their bed being like, "Where are my cleats? Like, where?"
Boys want a fucking ball, dude.
At like the end of your life.
Yeah, put me in, coach.
Like-
I'm ready
like
to
the-
play.
There's something poetic about that like for a dude's life,
Yeah.
like by the end of it, all you want to do is just play ball
Dude,
and hang with your kids.
I resonate with this all the time. My friends will get mad at me because, like, my wife, I'll be like, "Oh, God damn it." She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "I woke up, I was about to hit." And she's like, "What do you mean?" I have baseball dreams all the time, and the most frustrating thing is when I wake up right when I'm about to hit. Everyone knows baseball is all of us waiting around trying to fucking hit. It's my turn, and I
Yeah.
want to drop bombs.
I say the same thing, but it's just a wet dream.
Yeah,
I'm like, sorry.
let me hit.
Yeah, babe, I was about to tap that.
I was about to smash
I
that.
was about to hit.
Hogs.
Come on, dude.
I have way more sports dreams than sex dreams.
Yeah.
I had a dream I was a goalie the other night in the NHL. Yeah, dude. I was just like it's fucking game 6. We got to tighten it up, boys.
What a funny position to have a dream of, too.
And I played hockey, but I wasn't a goalie. So it was a really unique life experience to get to step into. You know?
Oh, it's so funny. But yeah, dude, Bernie, like, that was like a pivotal moment. Like, think about like his
It was a fun open. I was wondering
Oh,
how
it's
you'd
great.
approach the pod, but getting him onto personal, like a fun, nostalgic
Yeah.
story and a side of him that I think no one had seen. I thought it was great.
Yeah, dude, it was so fun. And like his like the two things that he's like rode for in his life, it's like wealth inequality, racial justice.
Yeah.
And as like a 14-year-old
That's it.
kid.
That has really worked out. Those still. I know he hasn't fixed it, but I'm saying like those are good stances to stick to.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you can stand on that.
Oh yeah, he's been there the whole time, and it started because the Dodgers left Brooklyn, and he saw Jackie Robinson hit a home run. It was like, you got to get these guys in the league.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
dude.
How do we get more of these guys on the Dodgers? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it was like that one moment that is like so pivotal, and then we just kind of came across it in research. We are like, definitely need to talk about this.
How much time do you guys spend researching for a pod?
I mean, it sort of like depends, but like for a guest like that, especially if it's like a high sort of like status person with some stakes involved.
Yeah.
It'll probably be like, like a week and a half.
Wow.
I mean, it's not like every moment of every day, but it's
Yeah.
like, hey,
Well,
this
there's
is
just a spectrum of podcast prep, and a lot of podcasts. Like I'll see podcasts that are like so successful, and it's literally just two dudes like, yeah, fucking wow. And it's then meanwhile I'm doing mine. I'm like writing songs and doing
Yeah.
sketches, and I'm like, no one's watching this.
Yeah.
But you guys, I can always tell like it's a conversation, but I'm always like, you knew what things you wanted to get to.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially with someone like that, he has like a very tight schedule.
Yeah.
Like he's on tour,
Yeah.
so he was like, yeah, we got an hour.
Yeah.
But he
He
was
was like, I'm also on tour, Bernie.
yeah.
Make it 45 minutes.
And I'm missing my show in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Okay? But yeah, he ended up enjoying himself. Did like a hour and a half.
He seemed like he did have fun.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
And it is crazy how I guess the Democrats are starting to figure this out, but it struck me that like that real honest good conversation. I was just trying to think of how many people on the Democratic bench like could do that or would do that, and it is.
I think most of them, like politicians, are, again, for all of their faults, generally speaking, are very likable.
Yeah,
That's like their job. They are professionally likable.
right.
And so I think most, if not all of them, could sit in a setting, especially with our show. Like, we're not particularly like, we're not trying to like catch people. You know what I mean?
You think
like,
they just feel like it's a risk reward thing, or they're just late to the party?
I think historically, like Democrats and progressives in general have had more like social guidelines as far as what they're allowed to do. And so the risk of like, okay, do I go on the show, someone makes an inappropriate joke, and then if I don't react accordingly, my entire political career goes out
I
in
was
flames.
literally like, damn, Bernie might get flamed by his side for laughing at the autism joke.
Well, now Bernie's side, like
Bernie's kind of,
his side was always sort of like its own thing. Like, he's an independent, right? But like his side is like, yeah, we make a joke, who cares? Like, maybe you think it's inappropriate, maybe you don't, but ultimately, like, you know, people are dying of fentanyl overdoses in the streets. Like, can we focus on that?
Right.
Which is kind of where I land, where it's like, yeah, I like to make fucked up jokes, and if you disagree, that's fine, but that's also, I don't think, should be anyone's highest priority.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like people can't afford food. Like, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it seems like, I think, more progressive than the Democrats kind of on the wave of like, oh, okay, we don't have to be policing what everybody says, and it's more important to get our message across.
Yeah.
Which I hope is the trend for the future, because ultimately I think long-form combo with many different people and viewpoints and perspectives is good for public discourse.
I think people are like forced to loosen up a little bit, where it's like, okay, policing things didn't work and no one likes to be scolded.
Not only did it not work, I think it like
Backfired.
detrimental and backfired, right?
Yeah.
Like, say what you will about Kamala, but like, I think she's probably pretty likable and is a fun hang and like has cool stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when she told Oprah, like, yo, I got a gun and I'll bust a cap in your ass, I was like, let's go,
She
dude.
has an odd spectrum of like eating shit and absolutely killing it. Like, people
Yeah.
do not talk enough about the fact that Kamala rinsed Trump in the debate.
Do you think she rinsed him?
Yeah, in their one debate, I did think so. I think that she had him looking rather flustered. As I recall, I haven't rewatched it recently, but like, I remember thinking,
she got
like,
some dubs for sure.
Yeah, she did, and like that's when he was just like, they're eating the cats and the dogs.
But unfortunately for Trump, or maybe fortunately, like whatever,
everyone was like, what?
whatever he does is just kind of like a banger.
What's up, guys? We're going to take a break really quick because I got to tell you about a dirty little secret, okay? The insurance industry doesn't want you to know this. Well, basically what the insurance companies do is that they profit by holding on to your money as long as possible. You pay them every month, and then eventually when an accident happens, they try to deny or delay your claim so that they can keep their profits going. I mean, it goes even worse. When in court, the insurance companies want jurors to think that the at-fault driver, you know, a mom that rear-ends someone, you know, she's a single mom, and they think that she is going to be paying the verdict amount. Meanwhile, it's really the insurance companies who are going to be covering the costs. And that's why I want to tell you about the good folks over at Morgan & Morgan, because they will take on the case, and they are almost always going after the big insurance companies and not the individuals at fault. Morgan & Morgan fights hard for their clients, and these corporations know that, and it pisses them off. A recent client in Pennsylvania just received $29 million. The insurer's best offer, $500,000. Yeah. There's another client in Florida that received $20 million, and the last offer from the insurance company was $0. There's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. So if you are ever injured or dealing with an insurance company that doesn't want to pay up their fair share, you could go check out Morgan & Morgan. That's right. Hiring the wrong law firm can be disastrous, and hiring the right law firm could, you know, be a big, substantial increase to your settlement. And Morgan & Morgan makes it so easy to get started. Their fee is free unless they win. There's literally no risk. Unless they win your case, you're not paying a dime. And with Morgan & Morgan, it's never been easier. I'm telling you. You just go to forthepeople.com. That's right, FORthepeople.com, and use the code GAGNON, GAGNON, or dial pound law. That's pound 529. That's forthepeople.com/Gagnon, or dial pound law. That's pound 529. And this is a paid advertisement. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to the show. What's up, guys? We're going to take a break really quick because I'm sitting here in my beautiful tent, as you can see, every week, day in, day out. And people always ask, they say, Mark, how do I have a tent like that? I want to sit in a beautiful tent and invite a lover, a friend, you know, someone that I appreciate and adore. I want to give them a good time inside my tent. Well, it's easy. thanks to the good folks over at BlueChew.com. That's right, Blue Chew is the original OG brand offering chewable tablets. And what do these tablets do? Oh, I'm glad you asked. They are going to give you just a stronger, harder, and longer-lasting sexual performance. That's right. They're going to help you pitch a tent any place, anywhere. And the best part, it's all done online. That means you don't have to go to a doctor's office and talk to him and be like, oh, I'm feeling some type of way. Look, this is not for people that are lacking necessarily. This is for people that want to have the best experience of their life, whether it's Valentine's Day, birthday, a funeral. Who knows? Whenever you need it, you never know when you could use Blue Chew. And we have a special deal for the listeners of this program. That's right. Try your first month of Blue Chew for free. That's right. Completely free. Mark, is it going to work for me? Hey, it's free. Why not just try it? Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. All right, now let's get after it and let's get back to the show.
It's like the Bible thing. What's your favorite verse? All of them.
Yeah,
I
it's
love all of
great.
them.
He apparently too, like he walked into a palace in Qatar and was just like, "What a great house."
I mean, that's exactly what I would say.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would
Great
say,
house.
word for word.
Did you see? Now I know I'm just throwing out funny Trumpisms, but you saw the fat shot drug.
No.
You didn't even see the
where
fat-
he's talking about his friend. He's
Yeah,
like, I have a
he's like,
friend.
very
so
neurotic.
Fat,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
fat. One of the fattest guys. His friends at home like, bro,
What?
I told you this in
Are you
confidence.
fucking kidding me?
Did you see his tweet for Biden getting cancer?
I
It
thought
was-
it was a very measured, no capital letters
Someone
tweet.
definitely took his phone.
Yeah, it's not him.
Yeah.
Wonder how they found it.
I would love to know what he said, to the people in the room, and they're like, "We got to get out a statement," and then they do the statement, and then he's like, "We'll do that one, but we could, Sleepy Joe, he's going to sleep forever. Is not surprised. Not the first liberal with a weird prostate. They milk them. They." How many fingers, Joe, did it take? Something's metastasizing in his back, I'll tell you that. It's
Might be Hunter's laptop.
might be, yeah.
Oh, but dude, it's I don't know. I kind of feel bad for old Joey Biden.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously conspiracy surrounding everything, but I think now one of the things is I think a doctor said well, for this cancer to be this stage, he's had it for a long time. Yeah. So the question is, were they not testing it on purpose?
I mean, while we're on conspiracy vibes,
yeah.
they definitely knew while he was president, right? They must have. I mean, I don't want to be too
It
conspiratorial.
certainly covered a lot of things up, although I will say their ability to cover up things is not great considering Jake Tapper just wrote a long book about it. So if everything else is coming out, I don't know why they would have been able to keep this one a secret.
That's a good point.
But is it? I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know if they knew or not. I mean, part of me is like, you're probably getting medical checkups on a regular basis if you're the president. And if it's that level, they probably knew and they can't say it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that they weren't testing his, I don't know if it's a PS or I'm just hearing all this for the first time, but there was one test that checks that, and they weren't doing that test for him. Apparently, sometimes they don't do that test in old people because if you're going to get this certain type of cancer, you're probably in a dead race with old age.
So you can't get it if you don't test type vibe.
Yeah, it's like an
yeah.
STD.
Yeah, wait,
Yeah,
what?
it's like chlamydia. Yeah, but it would be odd to me to assume that we are skimping on the tests for the old commander in chief.
That's what I'm assuming.
But I also, Trump's doctor keeps coming out and being like, he's killing it and he's insanely healthy, and it's well, he's got a lot of energy, but I I don't know.
Yeah.
When I get my blood work done, there's usually areas for improvement. So you tell me,
Yeah, I don't know. I am glad to see that most people are being nice about it. You hear someone's got cancer and you're like, all right, I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No matter what you want to say politically.
It is nice that we still have this level of decorum, which Trump doesn't usually wield, but
Yeah.
it is nice that there's this level of all right, hey, we leave it in between the white lines. If you actually, if you actually got some shit going on, we wish you the best. Which, it's a nice perk afforded to the elites when they make decisions from their desk that just decimate families in third world countries, and then no one really seems to care then. But you know, I'm sure there are people in some parts of the world that are not like, ooh, let me get out a nice calm tweet for Biden.
That's probably a great point.
But
yeah, that's probably an excellent point. That is a tough. I don't know why anyone would want to be president. Like I need to be liked too much. I have no interest.
Kind of start cooking, and then it's like think about it. That like I agree, it sounds kind of horrible, but then like imagine if you were in a position where it was actually possible for you, and you're already catching shit if you're that famous anyway, and you're going to bed one night, and that the thought creeps into your head, and you're like, me on Air Force One? Dude, me in the White House?
I guess. But then
me
it's like,
and all the oil paintings and the placemats of children?
yeah, right. But like me sending a bomb to some wedding?
Right. But
like,
I think you tell yourself, oh, well, I mean, obviously there's going to have to be some unfortunate decisions, but I'm probably going to be better at making them than other people.
yeah, I guess. You just have to believe that.
You have to. If you're not, don't do it.
Yeah. But then I'm like, is that the guy we need running the country? The guy that's like, I'm the best.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, not really. But like, that's who you get.
Yeah, I guess.
You don't
dude.
even get there. Like,
Maybe we just got to go back to the Philosopher Kings. You know what I mean? Go back.
you tell me.
Go back on some Plato vibes, right? Like just get like just some young kid pulling from an orphanage, random kid from an orphanage, and be like,
I don't even want to know what Plato would do to that kid.
you turn him into Plato,
I know
dude.
what them boys were doing back then. God
That's why I say
damn.
that is crazy,
Socrates.
dude. Then all these guys were pedos, and then we named a children's goo Plato.
That is okay. Spelled so differently,
but it's the same word, dude.
Yeah, it is the same word.
Dude, Plato's like kids are gonna play with me forever. That's crazy, bro.
Just want their tiny hands on me.
Just pushing me all the
It's
time.
one of those historical facts that I think it's you know, it's a joke kind of, but like I'm like, dude, they weren't actually doing that, were they? But they were.
They were.
But it feels like they like when I hear that, I'm like, come on, these guys writing all these books. You mean to tell me they were banging dudes? Come on.
Yeah, kids. They didn't think they were.
Turning these boys into a human flesh.
Legit,
dude,
bro. And their rule was that they stopped once they grew beards, because then they were men.
That's horrifying. I still can't grow a beard. I'd be getting pummeled right now, dude. I'm fucking 34. That's horrifying, dude. I'm so glad I wasn't born in ancient Greece.
That's the allegory of the cave. It's just Joey getting dogged out. You see Plato's dick shadow on the wall.
God.
You're like, oh shit.
No.
Is that the dick or is that the form of the dick?
Oh no. Plato's dick shadow on the wall is horrifying,
You're
dude.
just chained up. Like, oh my god. Call Diddy.
But they didn't view it as a sexual thing, right?
Well, I'm sure
Or
it
were
was
they?
sexual, but I just don't think. I think they're. I think the
Hurt people because it happened to them.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I just think the lines they were painting for what actually was pederasty was probably different.
Well, it's just crazy because they weren't like, I'm gay. They were like, no, I'm married to a woman. You obviously.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if my freshman level philosophy class serves me correct.
I had a philosophy minor in college. I don't think we covered this realm.
No?
I don't think we discussed this.
Dude, I was a philosophy minor. You know what I mean?
Nice,
Plato was dogging
dude.
me.
Yeah, shout out. Favorite boy on a team.
But like it was like rooted in misogyny.
Oh,
I'm really sounding like a lib this episode. For the record, I'm not. I'm a fucking.
you're an independent.
I'm a staunch independent. Look at my
Yeah.
voting record. Okay,
Yeah.
in the state of Florida, independence is day one. All right,
Yeah.
lifelong independent. That's what I tell people. Dude, I've been a lifelong independent.
A lifelong. I was born. Came
Dude,
out of the box.
As a lifelong independent. It was like some misogyny shit where they were like, okay, women are for like the home,
right.
but like, and women are for reproduction.
Right.
And we have to bang them for reproduction. But like actual relationships can only be held amongst the cerebral intellectual sex.
Holy shit.
That is
So
where
they
were putting
loved these boys. I thought they were just like trying to release.
it. No, I'm pretty sure it was like an intellectual bond. Like the only way we can connect is like with another man intellectually. But then we
That's
use
why I'm in fantasy leagues.
What's your fantasy? I guess it depends. You know what I mean? All right, loser of the league has to suck me off.
Yeah.
Random punishment. What do you guys think?
Why are there only 2 people in this fantasy league?
Like, shh.
Shut up. Let the commissioners speak. Go back to your quarters. Go back to the cave. I get the first, second, and third draft picks.
Yeah. The deck is stacked against you, all right? But that's the fun of it,
Yeah.
you know? That's the fun. But yeah, dude, it was a different time back in ancient Greece.
God damn.
Yeah, them boys were wild.
Them boys were wild. Dude.
But that
Dude's
was
night out.
Plato's whole thing. Is he
Would
was
have been
like,
a crazy place to just visit a Buffalo Wild Wings. All the boys are just pummeling each other, watching the match, watching the game of rocks or whatever. I don't know what sorts of games they were watching.
the Olympics.
Yeah, oh yeah, that makes sense. Basically rocks. That is
Basically,
shot
right?
put.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just rocks.
Yeah, they would run around naked. you know?
Yeah.
But that was their whole thing. They were like, this is who's going to run the country. We're going to get like the genius philosophers. And like
Yes.
we're going to raise them as kids and teach them all the rules of civics and how to run a republic. And then they will be the kings. And then they will anoint a new child king that then will grow and then take over the
And
the
now
throne.
we don't even care if people are smart or alive.
Doesn't matter.
Like, just stick them in there.
Yeah.
We had some people running it from behind the scenes.
You can't climb stairs, put them in.
Put him in. I'm sorry, he fell upstairs. Is that not impressive to anyone else?
That was one of the questions we were going to ask Buttigieg as transportation secretary under Biden.
Yeah.
We're like, was it your fault he fell off the bike?
That's funny. Yeah.
That's like one of your main jobs, right? Planes, trains, and bikes.
Yeah.
And the old Presidente popped off on that one, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that should have been his, like, should have been tandem. Or
Miles,
something.
you had a nice moment with Pete. I like trains as well. That was so good.
And everyone laughed at us, and I was like, "No, dude, we're trying to talk."
So good. It was
Yeah.
so earnest, and it was such a beautiful moment. But I laughed, and I was like, "Okay, everyone's gonna laugh."
We were trying to talk shop, and you guys are being children.
Yeah. I mean, that really is like Miles's like dream guest. I feel like it's just like just a lib
The guy
politician.
who runs trains.
Yes. Fuck Miles, dude. Drive a fuck Miles in the chat. But that really is. It's just like I want a guy that's like just loves trains, loves infrastructure, and it's just, you know, for the boys, you know?
Yeah.
I had
Miles
so
is
many
dream-
infrastructure questions. I was
Miles
like,
Miles could have done a 5-hour pod alone
Yeah.
with Pete.
I would love that, actually. I would
Easy.
just,
Yeah.
Miles, you should start a Infrastructure Weekly podcast where you just talk about it is the one thing that everyone like if you asked like people their problem with their local town, everyone's going to be like the roads are shit.
Roads, traffic.
Yeah.
Roads and traffic. And then construction if you're in the north.
Yeah.
Yeah. People in the north hate
So the
construction.
infrastructure pod might be at the beating heart of what the people really want to discuss politically.
The problem is once you
It'd be a
hear
crazy arc for Miles to become the most successful podcaster and media personality out of everyone in the.
just ranking on Spotify,
Yeah.
it could work. Honestly,
Yeah.
it could work. But the idea that if everyone has this problem, then I'm like, oh, no one has the problem. Like I hear this thing every time we go to a city, it's like, oh, I hate construction, I hate the roads. The fact that it's so pervasive makes me say we don't need to change anything.
It's like ancient Greece.
if
If that was happening to one person, it's the worst thing in the world. But
Yeah,
if
yeah.
everyone's doing it, that's just life now.
that's life. We live in cities, and sometimes the roads suck. So
Yeah.
get over it. You know.
Yeah.
That's how it was, dude. Even down in Orlando, where I grew up, where Miles and I met, all types of road traffic and all sorts of things. And you just
Orlando
like,
feels like a crazy little place.
oh, it's the best. It's a wonderful town.
You were telling me that. You were waxing poetic about Orlando when we were in Maine, and I was like, get me out of these maps. I don't know what the fuck this is.
Yeah, no.
But you were like, I just got to get you down there for one day and show you how to like really do Orlando. And I do appreciate that because I'm a hometown guy.
Yeah.
Everyone's always shitting on the Bay Area and San Francisco. I'm like, first of all, you come with me. We'll take a shit in the street. We'll do it our way. We'll do it our way. But there is... Call me Dorothy, but there is no place like home. Dude.
Truly.
There is no place like home, and I'm all for the Bay. I ride for the Bay.
You of all people would love Orlando. You're built for Orlando,
I bet I would love Orlando.
Day
Get out
drinking
there,
and
play a little
golf.
golf. Yeah.
right? Like, yeah, I mean, what else do you need?
Sign me up.
A nice couple of restaurants, a cute little
I'm down.
downtown.
I'm going to. How far is Orlando from Tampa? Because I'm going to St. Pete
You're a drive away, probably
in
2
July.
hours.
JoeyRay.com/live.
Like a 2 hour
2 hours.
drive. Yeah.
That's not bad. Okay.
What club are you doing? In
I'm doing Coastal Creative in St. Pete.
a great spot.
While we're talking tour dates, though, if you are in the Bay Area, San Francisco, Punchline, I'm filming my first special June 6th and 7th. We also have a show June 5th. That one's going to sell out, though. But
How are you feeling
So
about it?
special. I am excited. Like it's like a professional wedding. Where, you know what I mean? It's like I got so many people who are coming out.
Yeah,
It's gonna
yeah.
be like a huge thing. So it's super stressful, but it also like makes me want to be a better version of myself. So I'm like, okay, I gotta like
Gonna get slim.
diet and work out and make sure that I'm in a good spot for it, and watching more of my sets, and like actually like making sure things are punched up. But it's a lot of material that's been with me for a while, and it's time, and it's like it absolutely has to be at the punchline is where I want the first one to be filmed. So it's all coming together, and I'm trying not to get to the place where it's easy to be like, oh, I can't wait till the day after when I can relax and I'll have it done, because the special is like a stressful thing. But I'm trying to just like be stoked about being in the moment. and
Yeah, looking at it
experiencing
like
the
a
whole
wedding
thing.
is kind of an interesting way to do it
Yeah.
because you're on the road doing these shows every weekend, and it's very much a solo endeavor. It's you out there trying to make these people laugh.
Yeah.
And then with the special, it's like, oh, my parents will be there.
Yeah.
My grandpa's gonna go. You know what I mean? Like
I
if-
told my parents, because I have a lot of friends coming. I told my parents, I was like, just sit this one out. I got a lot going
Yeah.
on. Like,
I mean, that's also because that is like a wedding is stressful.
Yeah.
And you don't really have to do anything.
yes, but with the wedding, it's also like it's not the same as like obviously a special is so much, but the wedding is scary because it's one shot. Like at least I
Yeah.
can film. I have 4 takes to get this one right.
I mean, you can get
The
4
wedding, you're like,
takes
I
in your
can
wedding.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't
It's
share
true.
that. I wouldn't say that at
A
the
lot
wedding.
of wealthy men have preferred times 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. I do like the idea of men treating a marriage like a special. Like on the
Yeah.
4th one, they're like, I think we got it.
We got it. I think we got it.
Yeah.
You like the Late Show? The
Yeah,
Late Show was
yeah.
good. Yeah.
Should I do a
we're
wild
on
card
there.
one more?
We should do a crazy one. Let's just do a crazy one. I feel like we got it. We have the buttoned up version. I'm gonna take some shots and do a crazy one.
Yeah. That's what I'm gonna tell my third wife. I'm like, hey, let me just do a crazy one.
I think if you're getting married for the 3rd time, it might be like, let's just get a fucking psycho. Like,
Yeah.
although maybe that's how you get to 3, is you already did 2 of those.
Yeah.
But,
Should
like-
that be illegal? Getting married for
3
the
times?
3rd time? I think after a certain point, the state
It's kind
has
of
to
a
step
save
in.
you from yourself sort of thing.
The state should step in and be like,
Yeah.
hey, you're just not the type of person.
The
that
state
does
should
this.
mandate that you're just boyfriend, girlfriend.
Which really, who does that benefit? Like, it kind of benefits the guy. If he's been
Yeah.
married 3 times
Yeah.
and the girl's like, so we're gonna get married, and he's like, legally, I
I
can't.
can't do it.
I want
The
to.
state doesn't want it.
I would have proposed you on day 2.
The state prefers you as a side chick, quite honestly.
yeah.
That's how we got
Yeah.
into this situation.
Federally, you're a whore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, it's state rules.
It's not up to me. I talked to a judge and he said, you're a whore.
so,
So, you know.
it's above me.
Anyway, you want to suck this dick or what?
I'm for that. If I became president, I would say 3rd marriages are illegal. I would say your wedding vows are legally binding.
Yeah.
That's another big one for me. Don't lie in your wedding
vows
vows.
are legally binding.
I
So if you
hate
say
when
like,
people do
I
this.
will laugh when we watch Friends together, you like want to make sure that happens.
I hate going to a wedding and then people are like, oh, like, I'll love you forever and ever in sickness and in health. And then they get divorced.
Yeah.
Don't.
Because that guy was sick.
Yeah. Like, don't lie to me.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, I will love you as long as I want. Or until it gets
Yeah.
really tough, or like if
I'm
there's
going to give this a real college try.
I love the honesty. Just
Yeah.
go and make your wedding vows honest. That's
Yeah,
my one
I
rule.
will probably love you always, but let's be honest, who the fuck knows? Man? Life is crazy.
Yeah, this
You
is
want me to
crazy.
stand up here and tell you I'm gonna be this or that? Who knows? You might not like me. I could be fat in 20
Yeah.
years. You might not like me.
That's yeah. You just give her that.
Yeah, you might not want this at all.
Yeah, and then her vows, I want the same level of honesty. I just want people to be honest in their vows. If you get married and you're like in sickness and in health and forever until death do us part, that's it.
Yeah,
Until death do you part. Kill her or kill
that
him.
was the theory. That is the concept of the wedding was that is what you're doing.
Then
and
let
then
it
somewhere
be.
along the line, people were like, come on.
But if you're not about that life, then
What
switch it up.
are we all gonna just make these work?
That's my point.
Yeah.
Switch it up. Just change the vows and just
Do you think less people should get married?
I can't speak to that because it seems like everyone that gets married, 50% are just going to split up anyway.
Yes, I wonder if that would be less the case if people took it more seriously.
I would say if you're not going to have kids, like if you're just like, yeah, that's not for me, that's a completely valid lifestyle choice. Why get married?
Yeah.
Like to me, it's like marriage is kind of for the kids. Like hey, we're gonna have like this family unit. We're gonna get our money sorted out. We're gonna have one name. The kids will have one name, and that gets it all sorted.
I also think that some of the commitments that you make during a wedding do increase your chances of solidifying the relationship. Like once you do have you're under one name and you're doing all this, you're like, oh, it does feel different. It does feel like, like I never thought, I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. We're committed. And then like once it happens, you're like, oh, it does hit a little different.
Yeah,
it does hit a little different being like, well, my wife, you know.
Yeah. Once the split requires more than an Uber, then it's like, all right, there's something online. And there probably is something good about standing in front of your community and professing your love to another person.
I think
it's a healthy social institution. But generally speaking, like, if you're just like, yeah, we're not really gonna have kids, like I'm not religious, like marriage doesn't really mean anything to me. Like
I'm fine when people,
I'm just like, yeah, just don't.
Yeah.
And like, or just do like a party, and just be like, hey, we're just gonna have a big party, and everyone's gonna come out, we're gonna drink.
The party, yeah.
But like all this like pomp and circumstance for something that you don't even believe, I'm like, what's the point?
You think people don't believe it?
I mean, if they don't, like, if you're like not religious, like, or you just are, you're not gonna have kids, or like you don't do the other marriage type things.
The wedding really has become beyond like I know it's a religious thing in nature, but for people who aren't religious, it's just become like a social like touchstone. I don't even know what you would say. Like it has taken on its own meaning. Like the wedding is its own institution. Whether or not you're religious, you're like, oh no, this is like.
I also have this theory that
this is our thing. This is how we know we're serious and everyone can see it.
I also don't know if anyone even gets married at the wedding. No one gets married at the wedding. Women get married when they get engaged. Men get married when they have kids. This is my working thought.
Did you make that one up?
Yeah. There's a work in progress.
A lot of dudes who don't have kids yet are like, fuck yeah, dude.
Well, that's the thing, because like if you're a dude, let's say you get married, you're 28, 30 years old, no kids at all, you get divorced, like you never miss a step.
Right.
Whereas for a woman, she gets to show all her friends, she's like, I'm engaged, I got married, like da-da-da, he loves me, I got chosen.
Right.
And I don't think it's right, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, this is a social institution, this is what happens.
Right.
That's kind of my working theory right now.
And so you think until you had the kid, you didn't feel fully like you were married?
No. Because I was just like, at any moment, this could like end. I mean, not really. I didn't think my wife and I were ever going to split, but because I'm married before God, the one true God.
That's right.
And what God is bound, man cannot separate. But there is an element socially where it's like, if you just walk away, I could just tell someone in 10 years, like, oh yeah, I was married back in the day. Like,
yeah, you could do that, but I think that like the absolute destruction to your life that you've built together and your like families and your like it would not be that easy just because you don't have a kid.
I think it's easier for dudes, though, is my point.
Oh, for sure, because you're like, well, this sucks, but I can smash.
Yeah, whereas for women, I think there's an unfortunate social mores that if they get divorced, there's like a stain. Whereas for men, they don't have that stain because of, I don't know, whatever you want to insert there.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on like your community and how people feel about it. Like we live in New York. If I found out, like, you know, I'm obviously not single, but if I was like dating and the girl's like, yeah, I was married, I'm, you know, whatever, it's New York and fucking cares.
But you'd be like, and then?
Yeah, I'd be like, why'd you nag him so much that he left? What did you do wrong? Yeah, he was a psychopath. It was abusive. I'm like, but why?
Yeah.
Yeah. But why do you think that was?
Two sides to every story.
Obviously, I wouldn't be like that. But yeah, no, I think it just depends on your community. If you're in fucking Salt Lake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're speaking from like a very like generally white coastal world. Mm-hmm. Like I imagine if you're like.
My favorite clothing store, by the way. It used to be called PacSun, but now it's called White Coastal World. And I can get all my favorite Billabong gear there, and they always play my favorite white reggae.
Dude,
and it is
sandals with a bottle opener? I was looking for this.
Come on, dude.
Thank God.
Come on, dude.
How else am I going to open my beer with the dirtiest thing ever?
Great amusement park, dude. White Coastal World, and it's just fucking slightly stupid and Sublime bumping, and yeah, dude. Every guy is just like a formerly jacked fat dude in a flat brim hat who's like, my favorite burrito in San Diego is Rigoberto's.
Yes, that's a
I'm
great
just
theme park.
Describing San Diego, and I do love it. And I do love it.
In comparison to, minority immigrant world. You know what I mean? And that is a very different social marital structure.
It is.
You know what I mean? So like they probably have different rules. I'm sure there's probably some Muslim dude listening to this being like,
That's not what
not what marriage is for me.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I don't know. I think that very much like Western coastal marriage world is a completely different thing.
Yeah, that is true. It could be different. I heard there was a Mexican guy whose wife got mad at him. She shut off power to his boat.
Dude, that sounds like an unfortunate thing
It's
to
a
happen.
very unfortunate thing to happen.
Yeah, he's like,
She
dude,
caught him cheating, dude, and she shut off power to his boat. Hit the
Oh.
old bridge there.
my old 1700s
Yeah.
Mayflower.
That is like the most divorced dad item to have. Like, oh, how's your dad these days? He's really into this boat now. Ever since mom left.
Which also, can we talk about that? The midlife crisis thing,
Yeah,
I think is a complete misnomer.
you're not gonna get a vessel.
I am
Of
going to get a
some
vessel.
kind, yeah.
But it's like it is unfair to me that like dudes work their whole life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're working hard. They're trying to make it in the world,
Yeah.
right? And then, they start a podcast,
Yeah,
strike it big,
Mhm.
and they try to buy a Corvette. And they
everyone's like,
finally
was this desperate?
they
Yeah.
get enough money to buy a Corvette, and everyone's like, "You're going through something." It's like, no, I was poor for 35
Yeah,
years.
I can finally have this Corvette. It just looks weird because it's such a pussy mobile, and I'm not allowed to have any. It does look odd though. Like I remember when I was a kid, I was like telling my dad, I was like, he had like a solid car, but I was like, dude, why don't you get a Corvette? Because I was like, oh, Corvette would be amazing. He's like, well, it's like the same price as mine. I'm like, then why don't you have it? Then why don't you have it?
Yeah.
Driving a Lincoln like a fucking idiot.
Yes, right?
And
Dude,
then, like,
my-
when he got older, finally he was like, well, thinking next car, maybe I get the Corvette. By the time he said it, I was like, in no sense will I allow
Please,
that
no.
travesty.
Dude, my dad, his dream car was a Bentley. Still is.
Yeah.
But he was always like, I have 7 kids.
The air of class in that choice.
He's just like, I can't. A Bentley. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just crazy. And so he got the Chrysler 300.
That is the working man's Bentley.
Lived out the Cat Williams bit,
Mhm.
IRL. I watched that bit and I was like,
Oh my God.
am I black? I couldn't believe it. I was like, I have a black dad this whole time. What are the odds? He wanted a Bentley. He was like, I'm getting the Corvette, or I'm getting the fucking Chrysler 300. And then I inherited it.
Really?
Yes, I inherited it. I drove miles around in the shittiest
Driving
Chrysler
around a
300.
Chrysler 300 having a fuck Mark Gagnon shirt.
Literally, dude, with my dad, the one thing that he did to change the car is he put the biggest, like, 18-inch kicker in the trunk.
Black dad. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude.
Just to listen to Cascade.
that is awesome.
Just to listen to,
that,
like,
I love Cascade.
like early Dead Mouse and Cascade.
Yes,
He was
dude.
just playing I Remember in the Chrysler 300, dropping me off at school.
Fuck yeah.
It was sick as hell, right?
Yeah, that's incredible.
And then I inherited it and then just played Kodak.
there you go.
He just drove miles around playing Yak.
Circle of life.
Really, truly. It was the Florida circle.
Yeah.
dude. You know what I mean? You have like
I can't imagine my dad putting on I Remember. Like, that was like, that was like my formative drug years. Like,
No.
Oh, yeah. No, you're like, this is dad's music.
that is dad music
That
for
will
sure.
be my child's dad music.
Yes, I want to open like an old French-Canadian restaurant. I'm going to name it Francoise in honor of my dad. And it's just going to be, it's going to be fucking chicken and waffles and then Cascade.
yeah.
And be like, yeah, it's an older time. You know what I mean?
I'll go to
Like,
that.
Some people play like Sinatra. No.
No.
Dance music.
Cascade.
Yeah.
Cascade, one of the greats, the classics.
See, my dad took me to go see Paul Oakenfold
Wow.
when I was like 16 years old. He snuck me into a nightclub and was like, yeah, dude, this is
Just
music.
check this shit out.
This is music.
That's sick.
He got a table for the whole family. And we saw Paul.
Family table.
Yeah,
at the nightclub.
My dad would get family tables regularly.
Does he still go out and party?
Yeah. 100%.
Your dad rules.
He's the man.
Yeah.
He's an all-time legend. Bro, I'm almost positive.
I've met your mom. Does your dad come out to shows and things or no?
Not
You're
super
not
regularly.
a DJ enough.
I mean, he comes out to, MSG.
right. Well, I guess he wasn't at Radio City because that's where I met your mom.
yeah. No, he was busy that weekend. He was working. But no, my mom like never goes out. She's up 8 a.m. to go to mass.
Yeah.
So we would go get a table with my dad at 3 a.m, downtown Orlando. My sister like throws up like in the backyard, like just shit faced. And then we'd wake up at 8 a.m. to go to mass with my mom.
Oh my God. You had to do both?
If that doesn't explain me in a nutshell.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And that's how you got this podcast, folks.
Yeah, literally, dude. It is a wild thing. And then I don't even know. I've been trying to think about where like the medical neuroses comes in. Like because I was
It's your mom.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Is that where it always comes from?
Oh.
Because I was talking with my buddy Christoph G,
Yeah.
a very funny comedian that's been on the road with me. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm just like trying to think like he was like, yeah, dude, one day you're gonna like, he's like, you're gonna speak for like, I don't know, like a whole swath of people that are like into like health. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you're gonna be like a health guy. I was like, no.
And meanwhile, what are you reading? Actually, there's a thing with insulin spikes that
I'm like going through my HRV every morning.
yeah.
I'm just like, I'm so hooked. And he's like, yeah, no, for sure. But I think it does come from my mom. She's like supplement stacking like crazy.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. I don't know if it always comes from the mom. Mine came from the mom. The funny thing is, like, my mix is like my mom is an absolute health freak. She's like in her mid 70s. She walks like miles every day. She'll like go for a 3-hour walk with a friend and then come home and be like, does anyone want to go for a walk? And then like take off. She's, you know, like lifted weights. She was like a yoga teacher and she like studied in India like way back in the day with Iyengar and did yoga stuff.
Whoa.
And then my dad likes to drink. And so I kind of have both.
Dude,
so like I
fucking same.
partied last night and I went to the gym today. Yeah,
That's
it.
it.
Some decent balance.
That's what it's all about.
Trying to do both.
Work hard, sweat hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's actually strange. We have that in common.
It's always a mix. I mean, like you're obviously your own self, but you have things that you get from your parents via nature and nurture. And then I also believe that like some of it is, you know, ingrained, and then some of it is your job to choose the good parts and be wary of the bad parts. And if you can take the better sides of them and move that goalpost forward, and then your kid will do that with you because you're going to have some annoying fucking shit as well.
Dude, I was actually just thinking about this in light of having a young babe at home. I've been thinking about
as well as a child.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? But the way I have been thinking about it is like, I see it as like a board with all these different dials on it, okay? And when you're born, everyone's got this big board of dials. And some of them are frozen, and they can't move at all. And some of them are not frozen, and they're completely malleable depending on the input that you put on them. And so, like, introvert, extrovert, your dial might have been frozen. You might have just, I'm assuming you're an extrovert. You would consider yourself an extrovert.
Yes, I would, yeah.
You would be an extrovert in every scenario, whether you were adopted by a completely different family or not.
Right.
But for some people, that dial is malleable. And they're born into a family that's maybe very extrovert, and then they kind of dial it up. Or they're born into a family that's not, and their dial goes down. And I think it goes for every personality trait down the board, where some of them are just frozen, where that's what they're built with, and then some of them is external and nature nurture, and then you don't know which is which.
That's fascinating, and it reminds me of a Buddhist concept, which is basically like you have a bunch of seeds of everything, and it's like your duty to decide which ones you're going to water and not. And so like you have seeds of good behaviors, bad behaviors, parts of you that you could unlock or not, and it really depends on what you decide to water and nurture.
Yeah, it's weird when you have a kid too, because you're looking at it and you're like, did you get that from me, or is that just
Yeah.
you? I talked
And then
to
you're like, what level of this do I need to like put effort in to like, I want you to be the best possible, but how can I do that in a
because
non-annoying way?
you also don't know what they're going to come downloaded with.
Right.
So like my son might be just like a malleable introvert extrovert dial. And if I am like, oh, should I think about making him more extroverted? Is that a more positive quality, or is it just what it is? My wife is more introverted. Like, I don't think it's a negative quality, but like just by being around me, will that dial get changed?
Right.
Or is he just a fixed introvert or a fixed extrovert, and then nothing I do will change it at all? And it's like, you have no idea.
No idea.
I talked to this anthropologist that adopted a daughter, and she had made this comment where she was like, it was really nice adopting because every trait that my daughter had, I just saw it for who she was. At no point was I inflicting my own ego onto my kid, being like, you're stubborn because of your dad, or you're stubborn because of me, or whatever. It's just like, you're just stubborn.
Right.
And you can kind of remove yourself, which I actually think is like a healthy...
Yeah, you can kind of, you know, with your partner be like, well, those biological parents have a fucking problem.
Yeah, those folks in Wisconsin.
Boy, we got some wild genes on this fucking lunatic, huh?
Exactly, which I think is almost a better way to approach kids. Just like pretend they're adopted. Stop applying your own ego to it. And just be like, hey, you are your own human, and I'm going to do my best to make you the best human you can be.
Yeah.
And not inflicting my own self where like, oh, I hate the things about you that are similar to me, that bring up my own insecurities, or vice versa.
Right.
So I'm like trying to do that now where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to try to make
That's tough. I mean, that's the thing that happens with, you know, a lot of parents.
Of course.
You know?
You see your kid is so much like you. Like, I mean, I feel like most kids do this with their parents. Like, the parent that you're most like is the one you butt heads with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to just accept you for whatever the thing is that you are, and then try to make you as good of a human as possible.
Do you think your parents were like considering these sorts of things when raising you?
I think psychology was invented in 2007.
Dude, okay, right? Like, I feel like, I don't know if these conversations were happening or not.
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong about that. I'm speaking out of school, but like, yeah, even the concept that a dad cares enough to think about it feels potentially new.
Yeah.
And I see these articles that, I can never totally tell if it's true or not, but there will be these articles every once in a while that are like, millennial dads are spending like 95% more time
goodness.
with their children.
The bar is so low. I'll walk around with my baby strapped to my chest, and the amount of like men that'll come up to me, like old dudes, and be like, "Man, I wish I did this."
Really?
And I'm like, "What do you
They'll
mean?"
just come up to you
Literally.
and say that?
And then women will come up to me and be like, "You're the best dad." And I'm like, "You're
like, all I did is not drop
Yeah,
it and
yeah.
brought it to a coffee
Little
house.
do you know, I was gone for 3 days and I got shit faced on the road, and now I'm back. You know what I mean? Like, little
I
do you know.
puked in a Portland, Maine Airbnb.
Allegedly.
And they blamed it on my friend.
But like, they'll see me and be like, "Oh, you're the best dad." And I'm assuming this is like from a bygone era where women just raised kids and the dads worked, and they never really conflated them. There's a guy that goes to the coffee shop that we go to. He's an older dude, and he was like, "Yeah, I never did this with my kid." He's like, "It never even crossed my mind, and I wish that it did. I wish that I
Just bringing it like to a coffee shop for just the morning.
and just hung out with my baby. Like,
Yeah.
I only like invested time in my kid once they were like 8, 9, 10. But
Wow.
prior to that, it was just like, "Oh, you are your
Boy,
mom's."
had a layoff. 9 years of
Yeah.
like, no, that's woman stuff.
That was the whole.
And
That
then
was
was just like, it needs to throw a ball now. All right, finally.
That was like all of America until very recently, I think.
I think also some of it is we've become more emotionally intelligent. There's more information. There's more
Yeah.
demands, but also like for a lot of people, I mean, I think about my grandpa's era. It was like they were at war and then like came back and were the only sole provider for the house. So
Yes.
it was like you go make all the money, you go do all the kid shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, probably a lot of that is due to the fact like women couldn't really work back then, so it's like you had to do everything.
right.
And so if you can't work, then you have to take care of the
Because
kids.
it didn't strike me that like they were off fucking off. You know what
No.
I mean? Like it was.
Yeah, they were busy,
Yeah.
but it was just like a completely different like structure to how like kids should be raised, I think.
Yeah.
And so now I walk around with the kid and everyone's like, "Wow, you're the best." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"You have no idea. I'm a real piece of shit." A little do you know. And that's all it takes. You got to walk around with the kid on your chest. Also,
Yeah.
people are so nice, specifically in the city. Like, it's shocking how kind people are.
You're
when
the only one with a baby.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a couple every now and again. Like, you'll do like the dad head nod.
Yeah.
You walk around with your kid.
You doing
you're
a dad thing in New York City? Yeah.
like, yeah. You see another dad, you're like, "What's up?" You know what I mean?
bruh? Yeah.
It's like you're like a black dude abroad. You know what I mean? You see another black guy,
Yeah.
you're like, "What's up?" You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
So it's like me like seeing a dad. I'm like, "Hey," and yeah, you just walk around with them, and people are. I've never been respected more. It is crazy. Like, little kids are celebrities.
Yes.
Like, they have a celebrity aura around them. Just being a cute kid, people see you, they're like, "Oh my god."
And it highlights like a version of if someone's in a coffee shop and they just see you, they're like, fucking hippie. And then, but if they see you with a baby, they're like, well, that's an involved
good
father.
hippie.
That's a good, yeah.
But I'll walk around with a baby, and people are so respectful.
Yeah.
Like, I'm crossing the street. There's this dude, face tattoos, sitting in his car, blasting music.
Yeah.
7:30 a.m. I'm walking across the street. He sees me, stops the car, like at the crosswalk, stops, turns the music down. I walk
That's
past
amazing.
him, like,
Thank you, sir.
literally, I felt like A-Rod, dude.
Yeah.
People just like
Yeah, tipping the cap.
Dude, it was amazing. Like, I felt like the mayor of New York. Everyone's just so
I think
nice.
that's a Jeter commercial.
What's the difference?
There's a large difference.
Name the starting lineup.
Batting second, Derek Jeter. I watched some of the Subway series at a bar last night because it was Yankees Mets,
Oh,
and it was
nice.
fun. It was like it's fun getting into baseball. It does feel like old timey.
Yeah,
It's like watching, and then like the Yankees won, and they're playing Sinatra in the
Yeah,
bar,
yeah.
and I was like, that's vibes. That's cool.
Is this your first baseball season in New York?
It's not. I actually watched the Yankees lose in the playoffs at that same bar last year, but it's fun. I want to go to some games. I actually am thinking of going to the Knicks like playoff game 1 watch party on Wednesday.
Where?
I think that outside of MSG, they have like hundreds of people
I've seen
standing
those
out
videos.
there, and I'm kind of curious to like check. I don't know if I'll want to watch the whole game there, but I kind of want to just check it out if it's free and just see the energy out there.
Joey, if you show up outside of MSG to the Knicks watch party, you're gonna watch the whole thing.
And I would love that. And
Yeah.
maybe I will do that.
I don't think they'll let you leave. They'll be like, no,
Good.
you have to watch this whole thing.
Get in here.
Yeah, hey kid, and you're gonna be stuck
I mean,
in
it's
the middle
fun.
of
It's
mosh.
exciting. Like nothing awakens a city like some sports success.
Yeah, I'm weirdly getting invested. I feel.
Do you want to go to the watch party? You won't go.
I want to. I want to do everything.
Yeah,
But
you
I
have to be a father.
I hang with my kid and do pods and do stand up, and that's all.
Yeah, so you
That's
don't
all.
have the kid. So
Yeah, it sounds nice.
yeah,
Oh, let's bring the kid.
yeah,
That'd be fun.
that would actually be crazy.
What time is the game? It's late.
Yeah, it might be probably like 8.
Yeah, it's past his bedtime.
Yeah,
But he can sleep on me, right? Baby,
Yeah.
baby where he sleeps.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, Joseph, thank you so much for joining me. I
thanks
appreciate it.
for having me, Mark. Yeah, come out and see me on the road, joeyavery.com/live. Check out my podcast, The Joey Show. This was great. Anytime.
Yeah, this is fun, and this is kind of a deviation of our typical format. Again, the thought process with this, for anyone that's still tuned in, is doing episodes that are kind of a little bit more topical, a little bit more current, and just kind of like, I don't know, talking to the folks. I'll be honest, I was very happy with some of the feedback on some recent episodes. We had this guy, Honest Ave, in here last week.
You got
And,
one in here this week too, brother.
Yes, you guys are both superstars
Mm-hmm.
from very different backgrounds. But yeah, dude, Ave was amazing. And the feedback I got from the episode was really sick. So I appreciate everyone that dropped a comment or even came to the show. There was a guy that came to the show that was like, dude, I never heard of this guy, Honest Ave. And I listened to the pod and I thought it was cool. So I checked out the music and I listened to the whole album alone in my truck and cried the whole time.
Whoa.
And I was like, whoa, that's sick as hell. Like the idea that like I put someone onto something that like unlocked a feeling for him. I'm like, dude, that's the coolest thing ever.
It's incredible. People have come out to my shows and been like, I heard you on camp.
No,
Yes.
really?
Yeah.
I'm blown away by that.
Shout out to some of the homies at Zany's Chicago. Yeah. They were
Sick
like,
as hell.
love you on camp.
Dude, the hands-free fleshlight I think resonated.
The
across-
hands-free fleshlight was, yeah.
I think it,
I guess I got a fleshlight reference in this one too. Human fleshlight this time. So
Yes.
we're really building a beautiful.
and we're looking for sponsorship
Beautiful
from
tradition.
Fleshlight. Yeah. If you guys want to keep these references rolling. And then even the episode I did with my buddy Christoph on the road out in a patch of grass somewhere. We recorded outside of a hotel in Alpharetta, Georgia. And it turned out to be a great combo. We talked about Universe 25, and the feedback on that was great as hell. I'm trying to think.
Universe 25. That
Oh.
seems like a long question.
I'll
for
send
this
you the
part of
link.
pod.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the people were being very funny. They're like, "This is the closest pod we've had to actually camping outdoors." Yeah, that was from Shafat 2 9328. And then I'm trying to think. There were some other funny ones that people liked. And people were like, "Yo, when are you interviewing the Pope?" Working
Could
on it.
happen.
Yeah, he's
Could
a
happen.
He's a homie.
Chicago boy.
Yeah, he's
dude.
from fucking Chi-Town.
White Sox fan. The fact that he went to Villanova along with like some of the worst girls from my high school is so fucking hilarious. to
Which
me.
is just proof that he needs to be Pope.
Yeah, 100%.
If he can survive
handle that
Villanova,
shit, Jesus
If he
Christ.
can handle Villanova, he won't be tempted by anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Finally found the zipper for the tent, says Teriyaki God. Well, I would love to know what you guys thought of this episode. Please drop a comment. I will be reading all of them, the good and the bad and the sexual. So try to make them all good or sexual. Thank you guys so much. This has been another episode of Camp, and I'll see you later. Peace be with you.
What's up, people? Quick announcement. If you are a fan of Camp Gagnon or Religion Camp, I have great news because we are dropping History Camp. That's right. This is the channel where we're going to be exploring the most interesting, fascinating, controversial topics from all time throughout all history. Right? You probably know about Benjamin Franklin, I don't know, Thomas Jefferson, Nikola Tesla. Interesting figures from history, and you probably learned about them in school and they were pretty boring, but not here. No. As you know, I was raised by a conspiracy theorist, so I'm going to be diving deep into all of the interesting, strange, occult, and secretive societal relationships that all of these famous, influential men from our shared past have. So if you're interested, please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It will be pinned in the description as well as the comments. And if you're on Spotify, this doesn't really apply to you, but these episodes will be dropping as well. Just go ahead and give us a high rating because it really helps the show.